Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, listeners? Welcome to a pre-Easter, post-Easter, depending on when you're listening to this podcast edition of River City 93. This is not going to be a hot took podcast because we had time to probably cool down after the game, even though it was a frustrating game against the Atletico Madrid. I'm sticking with that analogy to the end of time. Uh, a frustrating game against the Atletico Madrid of USL League One, Chattanooga. Joining me to break down this game, as always, is the guy with the most beautiful hair on this podcast, Matt Myers. I was really about to say Shanair, but I feel like Matt, your hair's a little bit more free flowing.
I mean, she got more flow, but I was expecting to take Chenier, so I'll take it. I'll take it. Atletico has fans.
I mean, look, every dark horse has a team. Even Darth Vader had fans at some point.
I don't know.
And also joining me on the show is the one, the only, the guy who internet does not crap out in the middle of a show, hopefully, Shanair Duran II. How are you doing, bud?
Doing okay. Hopefully I don't end up getting kicked out by my bad service, but trying to look at the positive of this. And your analogy of the Atletico Madrid of USL League One is spot on, in my opinion.
Yep. Guys, before we hop on into this game and talk about the other busy week that we got coming up, like we have before, Easter is coming up. So let me ask you this: what are you guys putting on your plate? Like, what's the first thing you put on there?
What's closest to me on the table?
Okay. That always works. Always works. For me, it's always my mom's ham and her honey biscuits. Like that's the first thing I gotta put. Yeah, slaps.
Let me be real. How we do our holidays, at my parents' house nowadays, it is very homemade by the fine people at Fresh Market, and then heated up by us at that point. So yeah, we outsource.
Right. What about you, Shanair? What are you putting on the plate? Now you got an extra mouth to feed this year, man.
Yeah. First thing is my mother-in-law's mac and cheese. That's the first thing that goes on my plate.
Now, question: is it more mac or more cheese? Because this is the part of when it comes to mac and cheese.
I'd say it's more cheese.
Okay, that's all I need to know. A true mac and cheese has to be more cheese than anything else.
Is it going to be a revelation?
Yeah, it's more cheese.
That I do not have mac and cheese at Easter.
I'm not shocked, but we can change that very easily. But a team that, in the spirit of Easter, that rose from the dead, played dead, frustrated the Kickers was Chattanooga in a 1-0 game against the Richmond Kickers. And of course, when I start talking, we lose Shanair. Matt,
he'll rise again.
He will rise again in the spirit of Easter.
Hopefully I do feel like for now.
Right. I do feel like this was a frustrating game for the Kickers. I don't feel like they played bad, but I am frustrated by the result. I think Darren will be frustrated by the result. I think if you would have told Darren, like, hey, you get a draw out of Chattanooga, I think he even would have been frustrated with that, even though us fans would have preferred that. The first half, it went positive for the Kickers. Second half, you had the one defensive mistake. Outside of that, it wasn't really a whole lot created in the game, and I think it went the way of what Chattanooga wanted to be, making the game choppy, making the game really slow down and tedious. What were your thoughts after you went back and kind of watched the key moments of this game?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go as far as saying the first half was wholly positive for the kickers. I think as you got in the last 10 minutes or so, things really started to turn around a lot more, and you started to get sustained pressure, sustained momentum, down there. But most of that first half, especially just played in the midfield, it was kind of a big chess game, for the most part, where not much was happening at all. To be totally honest, so hit or miss. For the most part, it wasn't probably the most exciting game anybody will ever watch, but yeah,
Yeah, that's very true. It was not the most exciting game, but I don't think Chattanooga was trying to make it an exciting game. And I mean, this kind of goes into the Atletico acknowledgement about it. Like, they want to make the game slower. They want to slow the game down. They want to frustrate you. They want to draw the game out. But I think the kickers and to me, I think this is the part of it that I look at it positively. I think they did a fantastic job of not getting too frustrated. I mean, later on the end of the game, yes, the frustration started to boil over naturally. But at the beginning parts of the game where Chattanooga was trying to not waste time, trying to draw it out a little bit, they did a fantastic job. They did a good job of holding on to possession. Chattanooga probably had one dangerous shot. I won't even say it's a dangerous shot. It was an easy save that carried within the first 10 minutes. But and you don't remember this, the game last year where the first half we were getting pummeled. Like, we couldn't get out our own half. And I really thought it was going to be a remix of that, but it wasn't. It was more so Richmond was doing the opposite of kind of pressing Chattanooga in, but we weren't able to create quality chances. There was a lot of crosses, but there weren't quality chances.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair way to put it, especially for the first half. I don't know if we were pressing them any more than they were pressing us. I think you see a lot of these games between these two teams where it's a little bit of a rock fight, right?
Yeah.
Two teams who almost prefer not to have the ball, and somebody has to have it. So each team is probably happier sitting back and pressing, getting the ball, and going from there.
Yeah, that's true. That's also true. Shanair, man, you're back on with us. Let me ask you this: what makes Chattanooga such a difficult place for the Richmond Kickers to play at?
One thing that I did notice watching the game is, first of all, that turf field is hot garbage.
Okay, let me ask you, what is your issue with this field? Because me and Matt was trying to figure this out.
Well, when you set up a turf field, yes, you're going to have that situation of the ball's going to skip a lot faster. The ball's going to roll a lot faster because it's not real grass. But there should be at least some resistance of the turf. It felt like this ball was literally, you may as well have been playing on a futsal court. Like it's basically like a compact carpet, and it's like that's not a field. That's one element. Another element is just the way Chattanooga play. When they're at home and they're comfortable, they just run all over the place. They don't give you a moment's rest. And one thing, it was one thing that the commentator did talk about a little bit at the beginning of the game, was that Chattanooga's style of play is extremely intense. And because of that, they have a lot of guys that are probably not completely gelled in with the system yet, because not every team plays like that. Very few teams play with that much intensity for 90 minutes, because they will run for 90 minutes. The third thing is, even though there are a lot of other teams in USL League One that have big fan bases, Chattanooga Red Wolves, their fan base brings a hostility very similar to the Red Army. And from what I could hear, I mean, you're hearing a lot of when you let's say for example you were to go to a Forward Madison game, yeah, they're loud,
No one
but
wants to go there.
you said what?
No one wants to go there. We don't need to talk about that team.
No, we don't need to talk about that team. They're loud for no reason, and that's the point I'm trying to make. Like they're loud. Yeah, they cheer loud, but when you talk about an intensity that the fan base brings, I think Chattanooga matches the Richmond Kickers Red Army a lot. There are a lot of similarities in the way we go about making noise at the game and bringing down a lot of pressure on the opposition from what we do in the stands. And I think Chattanooga is very similar in that way. So when that intensity is not backing you up, but is coming at you, it's a very different feel. It's very different. So those are the three elements that I feel make Chattanooga a very difficult team to play against at home.
I don't understand what a lot of that has to do with the turf, though. Like the turf seemed fine. Like I didn't see anything that felt like a bad bounce or like an untrue field. I mean, yeah, turf sucks overall. I'd rather play on our field or North Carolina's field, but like
I mean, there
a lot of
were
other places we played, the turf seemed worthwhile.
No, the thing is, in this game, I could see that there were a lot of uncharacteristic wayward passes, uncharacteristic heavy touches. That if you were to take a touch like that on a grass field or on a thicker turf, synthetic turf field, you're not overhitting your first touch. And there were a lot of uncharacteristic bad first touches from the Kickers players that I don't equate with anything but literally the ball rolling a lot farther away from them than they anticipate because it's not supposed to do that on a turf or grass field.
I would argue they probably need to be able to adjust to that through warm-ups, even in the first part of the game. B, I'm not so sure those are uncharacteristic.
Well, we all can agree that this was, like we said, I think we all can agree this was just an overall frustrating game for the Kickers. Let me ask you guys this question. This is a point that it was a point of frustration for me. Matt Bentley's foul goal. For those who don't know, probably saw the game. Correct me if I'm wrong. It came in off of a throw-in, I think.
No, Terzaghi had the ball down in the corner.
Oh, cross. That's right. Yeah. Yep. Crossed it. Bentley went for it. In my opinion, I think Bentley gets at the same time the goalkeeper does. I think it's a 50-50 ball. Matt just gets there before the keeper. I didn't see a foul, but obviously the ref calls it a foul. It goes back. Real quick, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you think it should have been a goal? Do you think the Kickers got robbed there, or do you think it was a fair call?
I do feel that they got robbed there for two reasons. Number one, like you said, the goalkeeper and Bentley go up at the same time. Secondly, Bentley is not looking at the goalkeeper. He's playing the ball. The goalkeeper is behind him at the moment when they jump. So the goalkeeper is literally trying to reach over Bentley's head to knock the ball away. And Bentley jumps and heads the ball into the goal. The goalie clatters into him and goes down. So in that situation, first of all, his back is to the goalkeeper. He's not jumping back into the goalkeeper. He's jumping practically straight up and is playing the ball. So in that situation, I do not see any criteria for a foul.
Look, I mean, the keeper's going to get that call every single time. Like, we've all watched enough soccer. You know that keeper's going to get that call every time. They'll always get bailed out, pretty much no matter what in that scenario. So I wasn't stunned when the call happened. Watching it back, I can get there on why call the foul because Bentley wasn't looking at him, but he did basically back into him in a way. I wouldn't necessarily call it on him at all. There's probably some bias in there, admittedly, but again, wasn't surprised at all because keeper going up for a ball in that scenario, you have even if you breathe on them, they're going to get the call.
Yeah, most definitely. That was a frustration. I mean, there was another instance of Matt Bolduck. He had another shot on goal that went in the back of the net, but I think that was more easy to chalk up as there was a noticeable foul there, and the keeper kind of just let it roll into the back of the net. It was very weird, but it wasn't. My bad. Round out the rest of the first half. I mean, like we said, the kickers looked positive, and then I felt like the kickers would have gotten a goal in the second half based on how they ended the first, like the last 10 or 15 minutes, Matt, like you alluded to. Like I felt like the kickers were going to get another chance to go. I felt like the defense, the back row was playing exceptionally well. Bar Nathan was doing really great. Partner with Zaka. My only issue, and I want to see how you guys feel, is just the lack of build-up play in the offense. How do you guys feel about that?
I think that's mostly just a style of play issue. Because look, if you got the team as it is out there right now, you have Neil in the midfield, who's certainly a builder and a creator. Then you got Zaka and you got Dakota. There too. Both of those guys are defensive-minded players. At their core. Yeah, I mean, they can certainly be able to pass the ball, move the ball a little bit, but that's not their default setting. So it's not really a team designed right now to be able to build out of the back. A lot of the building is probably going to come through, Stu Ritchie and Stephen Payne out on the wings, if anything. And Chattanooga did a pretty good job of being able to neutralize those guys throughout most of the game. You got to give them some credit there.
My fault. My wife called. What you say, man?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel that one thing that in terms of the building in the final third, the Chattanooga's keeper barely had to do too much in the first half. We did have situations that showed that we were proactive, that we were trying to go on the attack, but that final product was never there for a lot of the first half. And that was a bit worrying to me. You could see that there was a very quick shift when after the disallowed goal by Bentley, you could see that Richmond kickers kind of smelled blood a little bit and were trying to push forward, but it still was there still weren't that many. We didn't work their goalkeeper really throughout most of the game.
Well, not really, not at all.
Yeah, no, not at all. And I don't know, it just felt very disjointed in the attacking part. It seemed like the kickers were trying to. I don't know. It's hard for me to explain it. It just seemed like as if nothing was really connected. Like Neil wasn't really getting on the ball, or Neil wasn't getting in the right places to connect it to someone else.
I mean, it reminded me a lot of last year playing down there, because that was one of those games where Hernan started up top and we had Emmy in the midfield, and he almost got himself sent off in the first half because he was fouling so often because he was frustrated. And nothing. You alluded to this earlier. Nothing was building. That first half last year, it felt like we were definitely lucky to get out of the first half 0-0 last year. I think we're a little unfortunate for it to be 0-0 the first half this year, but Chattanooga, especially on that field, they're good at being able to neutralize what we bring in the midfield. And I think that's a long-term stylistic question that has to come up of, hey, if we're playing Chattanooga, the way they set up, really takes away what our midfield does well. How do we adapt to that?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And I think that's the bigger question for Darren to try to figure out, not only with Chattanooga, but like other games coming up, because teams are going to look at the tape and be like, all right, this is how you beat the kickers. You frustrate them, you make them disjointed, and they're not going to create much of too else. Now, what's up?
I think I think the disjointedness came from the starting lineup up front. starting front three of Bentley, Terzaghi, and Matt Bolduc, I think we really, really missed Bolaños in that front line, and you could see that I think you could really see a shift and how much we missed Bolaños when Bima came in for Bentley late in the second half. When he came in for Bentley, you saw a lot of service in the box. Like literally within 5 minutes of Bima coming in, he had already made 2 or 3 dangerous crosses into the box. And that wasn't happening at all before. Like there weren't any chances created from out wide before. And I think, I mean, there wasn't. You had Terzaghi's 2 180-degree crosses. You had Arnie's long throw-ins, but in the first half, there wasn't that much in terms of danger coming from crosses from deep or crosses from the wing.
Oh, I mean, there wasn't much danger coming from anywhere, really, but anything dangerous was coming from out wide.
Yeah. And I think also, I think that's the difference in between Matt Bentley. I'm sorry, it's like between Matt Bentley and Leo. Like, Leo to me doesn't scream score. He seems like, I want to assist, I want to set up. And
he's a true winger, yeah.
Where Bentley is a striker. Like, I think it was Bentley who got on the 2 crosses in the second half. I think that's what Bolaños does great of merging those two. I think the issue I would have had is more Matt Bolduc in this particular game, as if he didn't really produce too much. But also, like, a lot of those chances he was cutting in and, trying to create when he could. I just think, like, if you would have brought Leo in earlier, I think you would have, like you said, you would have opened up chances. But I think you can appreciate what Leo brought to the game, but also be appreciative of what Matt brings to the game. Like, they're two completely different players.
True. That's true. But one thing also we need to look at, if you compare the way the kickers attacked in this game compared to the way they attacked in the Tucson game. In the first half of this game, the attack was disjointed and not really coming from anywhere. Matt Bolduc, 1 second he's on the right wing, the next minute you look and you're like, wait, where is he? Oh, he's in the middle. And like, wait, now he's on the left. Tucson, you had attacks coming from Bolaños on the left, from Matt on the right. You didn't know where the attack was going to come from, but it was always those 2 dangers. And I think we kind of spoiled Chattanooga's defense in this game. We didn't give them enough of a challenge, enough of a, wait, where's the attack going to come from now situation, as we did to Tucson in the first game. And that's why I said I really feel that we really miss Bolaños, because I think without Bolaños there, Matt Bolduc is trying to mirror what Bentley's doing on the other side. And Bentley is not staying out wide because he's not a winger. And so Matt Bolduc is coming in the middle too. And so now there's nobody out wide.
Yeah, but
really creating anything from the wide position.
Yeah, the whole attack's going to be relying on Bolaños. The season's going to be sunk anyway, because he's going to be out for a few weeks. But if one guy's going to make everything work or not work, it's a different thing. Tucson sucks. That's what we've seen so far, and Chattanooga's going to be a really good team. This year, I mean, even in the Open Cup, the only reason they lost to Louisville was because they made a boneheaded mistake trying to play out of the back, and they're in first place right now for a reason. It's because they're good. I don't think anything we saw in this game is new. If you roll back any away game from last year, it's all the same things.
Yeah. It literally is. And I understand the frustration, Shannon. I totally understand where you're coming from. But I think this is just a combination of, one, the kickers have not been great on the road under Darren Sawatsky. They have been a better home team, like we talked about last week. 15 games unbeaten at home. I think, if memory serves right, I think we have lost 6 straight on the road. I'll double check that.
No, North Texas was somewhat late in the year last year.
So it might be like 3 or 4 going back to last year on the road. Disjointing it in the attack. I didn't see transitional defense. Yeah, that was an issue on lead up to the goal, but that's also like a broken play. Is those things that we've seen the things that have plagued the kickers. But like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm not walking away from this game like I did in some away games last year, like frustrated and pissed. I'm more like, okay, it's early on in the season, but these are things that they need. I can see them working on fixing and getting straight.
I have a question for you guys though. Do you feel that we would have seen a different game if Bima starts over Bentley on the wing?
No, but
once again, I don't think Bentley was the issue, because Bentley, outside of a ref miscalling one goal, he puts another one slightly off frame because he's sliding, and I think there was one more, Matt, right? Did he get another header on one near the end?
The one where the defender gets injured?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but again, that's him playing centrally, but Terzaghi was supposed to be the striker. So Terzaghi's supposed to be the number 9. So if Bentley is in there as well, who's out on the wing serving?
But what I'm saying is I don't think Bentley is the issue in that. I think if you replace Leo with Bodok, I think you have a different game. I think that's the key part. But
the problem that with that is you only have Chattanooga only has one wing to worry about if you take out Matt and put in Bima.
Yeah, I think that's the whole thing anyway.
But if you take out Bentley and put in Bima, you have Matt on one side and you have Bima on the other side. The cross can come from either way. And you have Terzaghi in the middle, who's a fox in the box anyway. And because of the fact that Bentley is occupying that space, I think it kind of got in Terzaghi's way. Because we didn't really see much chances from him, did we?
Yeah, but that's also because
he got to the point where he was doing a lot of service, actually.
Yeah, but Shanir, I don't think we're going to agree on this point. But to finish off, I think Terzaghi got double teamed. They all know that. They literally had 3 men around him at one point. So he literally was playing decoy. I don't think, you're not going to just leave him open. And I think
they're not going to leave it. But Chattanooga's not the first team to double team him.
Yes, but okay.
And he still manages to score. If he's in the box, if he has the space to do so. But if you bring another attacker into that area, you're also bringing 1 or 2 other defenders into that area. Because they're not going to let Bentley roam. So if there are 2 people on Terzaghi and Bentley comes into the box, there's going to be a defender that's tracking Bentley. So now there are 3 guys in there that Terzaghi has to avoid to try and score.
Right, but you want more than one guy in the box, too. Like if the ball's out wide, with Bolduc, you want Bentley, coming in and being able to crash onto the back post. That's literally the ideal play that Darren's been trying to build, and that we saw them building towards all of last year, as well as that Bolduc cross to Bolaños to be able to tap it in at the back post. So it's not a matter of like the winger's going to stay all the way wide to the tuck and just try to have 1v1. I don't think that's realistic. We're going to need 3 or 4 guys crashing into the box in different spots. So it's going to
of course you can't. Of course, I agree with you on that. And to emphasize my point is, you saw early on that Bentley was trying to play the winger position and he kept overhitting his crosses.
Yeah, but
his crosses kept flying.
We got to move on. We got to move on. But I understand what you're saying, Shanir. But you also got to remember, he's playing out of position. His strong suit is not crossing. His strong suit is finishing. So to get upset at him and be like, I don't think he should be playing.
No. Don't get me wrong. I'm not getting upset at him. I'm saying that would we have had a better opportunity if we had a true winger there rather than putting a striker on the wing?
Hindsight is 2020. So probably if you put Leo out there, it's a totally different game. But you're also losing another person finishing in the box. Like it's the same thing we had last year, where we have a bunch of people that can quote unquote create, but nobody can finish.
And you're also losing a lot of industry on the field because Bentley is going to work himself out there. Bima is a statue.
Yeah. Like Bama needs space to get open for those crosses. You got to create that space for him. You got to. He's not going to create it himself. So in virtue, like we said, hindsight is 2020. But let's move on. That was an intriguing debate. We could probably go into that.
Let's move on to a happier topic. Giving up a goal.
Right. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about giving up the goal. I can't be too upset at it because one is Stephen Payne made a good play on the ball. It just happens to ricochet back. It's almost like a FIFA-esque goal. In the way he cuts it back. Initially, I was upset with Stuart Ritchie because I felt like he could have stepped up more. But then the more and more I saw it, I'm like, all right, he's literally on his heels, and you're not propelling that much momentum to try to run up. And then we had the camera set up. You can't see who didn't track that man into the box. It just seemed like he just got free. He just, literally striked into the place where I say this all the time. If Akira was 6 foot, he saves it.
I don't know about that. I don't think he saved it.
Probably not. I just want to feel that way.
He smacked that one hard. That was a pretty powerful shot.
He did.
To be honest with you, if you want to be really nitpicky, I would say maybe Matt Boduk didn't track his man because from where he was coming from, I think that would be the winger's job because the fullback is already occupied.
Yeah.
The fullback on that side is already occupied. So, but that's really being anal and really splitting hairs. And I think in that situation, it was a very well played goal. What more can you say? For me, it comes from the assist of the assist. With that ball that literally cut us wide open for the winger to get in behind to then hit the ball across.
Well, I mean, you got to remember, it didn't cut anyone open. Stefan headed it back. It's just where when he heads it back and the Chattanooga players receive it, where he heads it to, the Chattanooga winger moves behind Payne because Payne is literally getting off the ground after heading it, and he plays it right in behind Payne. Now, granted, there's nothing Payne can do about it. Like, there's nothing you can do in that situation. You're a sitting duck.
Well, I think the thing that he can do is maybe do better with that initial headed clearance, but also the question then comes back to that midfield. We talked about this last week. Is other teams winning those second balls, those loose balls in the midfield, and being able to really push into the attack right off of that. We saw Northern Colorado get a few quasi breaks against us last week because they were able to pick up those loose balls in the midfield. We saw it this time, and they were able to spring Mentz again. And I don't know if you picked out that pass exactly where he wanted it to go, but he had all day, and ended up right there. And I think you're right. I think it was where I thought it was Bentley. I saw the tail end of the clip and just coming into screen, trailing behind. I could be wrong on that, but you saw Zaka and Dakota already tracking back into the box, and the ball kind of missed them a little bit. I don't think there's any realistic expectation that Stuart Ritchie is getting to that ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the one point Darren's going to take away from this game is just that. I think that part more than anything else is going to frustrate him just because of. This is something they've worked on in the offseason, something that Darren's been drilling and when he's been talking about in the post games and in the pre-match pressures about. We want to get better at transitional defense. We want to be able to close out, play solid defensive. And look, the Kickers have played a lot better defensive. I'm not knocking them on that. It's one moment. It is frustrating. But that's a moment where that's the difference between a draw and a loss. That's one of the main differences for us right now. But yeah, closing out this game. Any thoughts on the closeout of this game? Like, how do you guys think went kind of closing out? I think I made the point to you, Matt, at the bar. I was, the arbitrary point of like, I wish we could have created more in like the last 10 minutes. You kind of you're right about you can't really get mad at defenders for trying to create offense. Like at that point, you're just chucking the ball forward and hoping for the best.
Yeah, I think.
I think we created some pretty good chances towards the end there. I mean, you hit, like I said, when Weimar came in, he came in and made a lot of crosses. Bentley had several chances from those crosses. Terzaghi came close. There was one situation where their goalkeeper came out and completely flattened Neil with a good clearance. I mean, it wasn't a foul, but he came out and just completely wiped him out just to get to the ball and clear that ball away. Like, we created some dangerous situations towards the end there, but we just couldn't get it in the back of the net.
Oh, that's the thing. Maybe creating some dangerous situations, but not actually creating actual danger because, I think the final stats were 8 shots with 0 on target.
Yeah.
And Chattanooga had 15 shots, 4 on target, but really like two of them were, like something could really develop here.
Yeah, so stats can be misleading in that regard, but you make the keeper, not actually have to do anything in terms of saving the ball. It's going to be tough to win.
Yeah, very true. It does make it a little bit more difficult. That's pretty much it for that game. Coming up, Monday? No, Tuesday. I mean, Wednesday. I'm getting my days all mixed up because I got Monday off. Wednesday, U.S. Open Cup, NC Fusion. We have an article coming out very soon. I hope Matt has edited it for me and we can put it out there. Fingers crossed.
They'll be edited.
BZ hasn't touched it yet. But we got an article coming out with NC Fusion. We talked to them about how their club was founded. What are some key players to look out for? But for me, I have put this game on upset alert, and mainly it's for 2 reasons. One, it comes at an opportune time for the kickers where you're kind of in between weeks, not a lot of rest. You're kind of just getting back you're kind of, playing off of the next game. And then also this NC Fusion team already beat a USL League One team, Charlotte FC, and this is the national national runners-up in USL League Two.
I mean, I know you love Charlotte FC. They're not great, but they're not a USL League One team.
I said Charlotte. My fault. Charlotte Independence. My bad. They both got the same name.
They don't have the same name. That's the point.
Oh, they do in the first part. Maybe the last part's different. I don't know. But yes, I put this game on upset alert. Where do you guys feel about this matchup? And do you think it's going to be? How much rotation are you expected to see within this game?
I think we're going to see.
Go ahead, Matt.
I think we're going to see the same style of rotation we saw with the Nova game. So we'll have the game Wednesday and then another game Monday. So there's a couple extra days in there. So we might see a little bit more of the first teamers play. But I think you're going to see a strategic balance in the number of starters that are out there, mixed in with maybe Candela, mixed in with I wouldn't be surprised to see David Olson get a start. I wouldn't be surprised to see Chris Cole in there. Get a few of the other guys in to be able to manage minutes along the way, but it's not going to be a full second team. There's no chance of that.
Yeah, very true. What about you, Shadir? What are your thoughts and feelings about this upcoming U.S. Open Cup game on Wednesday?
I think, like you said, it has the potential of being an upset. It's one of those games we should not take lightly. I know that a lot of people would look at it not knowing who we're playing up against and looking at it and saying, "Oh, they're a U23 team. We should be able to." No, don't look at these boys like that. It's I think it's going to be a hard fought game. We can. I think we have the ability to win this game, but we need to make sure we play our cards right in terms of the lineup, in terms of the strategy, and how we approach the game.
Yeah.
Kind of like we have the ability to win this game. We're the favorites. We're the heavy favorites in this game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we're the favorites in this game. And I
Yeah,
agree
and I think
this,
that in itself is the danger.
yeah, I just don't want us to be caught out there sleeping. Like, I think this is the kind of game where if Richmond one creates quality chances, like you talking about, Matt, not chances, but quality chances and takes, finishes their chances early and get on top of this game, I think kickers run away with this. But if they lollygag, not finishing their chances, not really creating, it wouldn't surprise me if NC Fusion comes out of nowhere and scores like a goal, and then we're kind of like panicking. You feel me?
I mean, I hear you, but based on how they came out against Nova, like if they're going to be a game they're going to dog, there's going to be the first game of the Open Cup against an amateur team, not a second game.
Yeah.
Yeah, after they've already seen that, all right, these guys, they can play. They gave us a tough game. It's not going to be something where they're going to be surprised by, oh, these guys can actually play, blah blah blah, and again,
I think this is their second game, right? Because they beat South Carolina Bantams and then Charlotte Independence. Yeah, this is their third game.
And also there's the there's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow of probable game against MLS. If they get through this game, so I don't think guys are going to be overlooking that, or and certainly Darren and the club are going to be wanting that opportunity as well. So I'm not worried about the effort side of things at all. I think, of course, something could happen, but I'm not really worried.
Okay. All right. Well, after that game, the game that was scheduled for Friday, but then got moved to Monday because the teams agreed that if one or both teams make it in the U.S. Open Cup, the game will be on Monday. We go to Charlotte Independence, who will eat crow. They are surprising me. They are not bottom of the table. That place is currently held by FC Tucson. Real quick, we won't go super duper in depth about that game. Well, matter of fact, yeah. Just real quick, what are your thoughts about that game? How do you expect the kickers to play and be prepared for that Monday night game against Charlotte?
The thing with the Charlotte Independence is you're looking at a team that, yes, bowed out of the USL Championship, came down to USL League One, but that in itself should be, I would say, an alarm bell of sorts. They may not be doing well right now, but this is a team that has gotten acclimated to playing against slightly higher caliber teams, and you never know if something clicks. They bring a heavier game than we're used to, in League One. I don't think we need to hit the panic button with Charlotte Independence, but we do need to make sure that we don't take them too lightly. We really need to make sure that we don't take them lightly. Yeah, Tucson's at the bottom of the league, but that's probably just because we scored 4 goals against them in the first game. But they seem to be having some troubles, Charlotte Independence, but you never know when they figure that out.
I love your facial expressions.
I mean, Charlotte just beat Hailstorm today. They drew Fuego, so I don't think they're that bad of a team. So I don't know where this. I think we have to get past this preconceived notion of, well, they dropped down, so they must we haven't heard of their guys and they must be crap, right?
Yeah, but I mean, for me, the thing is they dropped down from a league that's higher up.
Yeah, so did we 3 years ago when we were absolute garbage.
Yeah, that was when everyone was in the same league, and they realized, all right, we need to make some separations here. That's different than a team that when those separations was made, was good enough to stay in USL Championship.
Yeah, but this isn't the same team at all either, though. They don't have many guys back. They got a lot of different guys. It's just like when we drop down, there's like 6 guys back. But they're performing. They're playing high scoring games a lot. I think they're not great at defending, but the team that we were in a dogfight against last week, they snuck one out against them today. So yeah. I think to have the idea that they're the ones trying to figure things out is I don't think that's a fair representation.
I think the Charlotte game is going to be a difficult match just because it's on a weird night. It's on a Monday night, which is weird. But I mean, it's going to be a difficult game nonetheless. I think Charlotte does have some ballers. They have, in the few games that I've watched thus far, they can score. Like, that's not an issue. It's kind of like NoCo. Like, they have the attack. It's just all about, like, can Richmond cause enough problems in their defense to make them crack? And if Richmond doesn't ask questions of their defense, then I think that's when Richmond can lose this game because they're not asking enough questions, It is still very early on in the season. As you mentioned, it's not, we're not hitting the panic button on. I think it's fair to ask questions because if you can see the problems arising, you want to get ahead of them now. But I think the best way to wrap this game up, it is a frustrating game, but like we said, there are positives to take from it. It's Matt Bentley, as much as listeners are probably hearing Sinead rant about him. I think he is still a positive. He's probably
definitely absolutely
in a sub thus far. I'm being thrust into that Jonathan Bolaños role is not easy. Because Bolaños brings something that no one on the team really brings with the pace and the speed and the ability to change direction on the dime, but then also to create and score. I think is unique to him. But, I think the back four and the defensive midfield partnership between Barnathan and Zaka is growing and getting more solid. I think there's positive take from it. I just want the kickers to create more. And I'm not talking about in terms of just holding the ball and kind of playing Man City ball. I'm not talking about that, but just create chances that are dangerous and ask questions of the opposing team's goalkeeper. That's all.
All right. So,
let's go and get into it, Matt.
I know it's a loss, but still, top. We got to still go through. Give the top 3 to the game.
Real quick, do you have an updated standing? I'm gonna ask you this every week
for the season total.
Yeah.
Still Neil's on top. Akira right behind him. Emmy right behind him right now.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Let's go ahead and do it. I think I let off last week. Shanir, you can go first, buddy.
All right. For me, I'm gonna start with a defender. 3 points from me to Arnie. He was massive in this game. Won a lot of his aerial duels, was solid in the back, and of course we always have the lethal weapon of his super long throw-ins. He did a fantastic job today. We took the L, but he played very, very well in the back. He was very solid in the back. I'm gonna give him the 3 points. I'm gonna give the 2 points to Terzaghi. Very versatile in this game. And I think he provided what was needed when it was needed as best as he could. 2 situations where he played amazing crosses initially with his back to goal, like literally doing 180-degree turn cross twice. And the cross landing in very, very dangerous positions, not just a wild cross, but actually placing the ball somewhere. They're very impressive from him. And I'm going to give my 1 point to Bentley. He was a workhorse. He was a workhorse out there. He came the closest to scoring out of anyone on the team twice, maybe even 3 times, if my memory doesn't fail me. He was he put pressure on Chattanooga's back line when he was in the position to. Sometimes he even dropped deep to help defend. So 1 point to him.
But we need to stay away from goal. We need to stay wide, right?
No, he needs
to, for you,
no.
Stay wide. Just stay wide.
He needs to stay central. It's just we need to figure out how to have him and Terzaghi occupy the central space a little better than what we did. For me, the issue isn't Bentley. The issue is the preparation and placing Bentley where you didn't do him any favors. I'm just
giving you a hard time, man, after the earlier rant.
From now on, we're just going to get a T-shirt for Shadir that says "Stay wide, stay wide." Stay wide.
Yes. All right, cool. Ellie, you want to go next, or you want me to go next?
I'll go next. 3 points. I will give it to Nathan Ani. He played a really solid game. I really feel like he has grown into the center back spot, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I'm cool with the partnership between him and Jalen Chrysler. Like, if Dakota wants to stay in that CDM spot, which I feel like Sawatsky is going to have him at, I'm fine with it. I don't think that's a bad partnership. They haven't really – the goals that have been scored against us, there's only been 2 thus far this year, have not been because of them. You know, it's been – one's been on wonder goal and the other one's been a cutback off of a broken play.
Now that I think about it, both balls came from roughly the same spot, and both goals were scored from roughly the exact same spot.
Yeah.
They're not really similar in any other way, but it's a little coincidence.
Yeah. It is kind of weird. So I give it to Nathan Ani. 2.
Yeah, it's tough this week.
Yeah, it is. I mean, especially because it's late at night. Like, I think we're rolling up on 12 p.m., 12 midnight. Oh my God, I'm gonna be tired. 2, I'll give it. I'm struggling. Leo. I'm just gonna say it. I'll give it to Leo. He did come on, like Shanir said. Like Shanir fought to the death. He created some dangerous chances. He did, and I think the key thing about him is that he can create those crosses. You know, something that we are lacking a little bit at the moment. Not lacking, but crosses that can actually get on someone's head and create danger. I think he does a little bit better than maybe as a central midfielder. Not so much as a winger, because I know Darren likes his wingers to kind of get up and down the field and get in behind.
We can have that debate for another day, because I disagree on that one, but that's not the point right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. We can. But I'll give Leo 2. I think he came on I think he was the most effective substitute in the game. And then 1, I will give it to Dakota Bar-Nathan. It is not so much about what he did on the field, but it was so much about what he did after the foul against Zaka, where the Chattanooga player got in his face and he just waved his ball. Was like, "Ooh, your breath, stinking." I will always give a point for cheekiness, so he gets the nod from me on that, and that's for me. What you got, Matt?
All right, Ani gets the clean sweep this week. 3, nothing more to add on that. 2, I gave to Jalen Chrysler. I thought he also had a really good game in the back. It's hard for me to really differentiate between the 2 center backs, so only made sense to have them 1-2 in my mind. And then, at 1 point, I gave it to Bima. Same sort of thing. Not a lot was created when he came in. He was able to create pretty quickly and gets the point as a result.
Yeah, very, very true. Well, guys. We got a busy week coming up. U.S. Open Cup. We got Charlotte Independence, and then next Saturday, the Saturday after that is the Henny Derby. So get ready, guys. We got 2 home games in between a away match, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. Yeah. Any last things before we wrap it up, boys?
If you're listening to this, you're probably planning on showing up to the Open Cup game anyway. But if you were on the fence, come. Those games are usually, I think, the most fun home games of the year. Definitely recommend. It's usually the most tried and true faithful fans there. So it can you get a nice, different kind of environment than regular games.
Yeah.
Show up on Wednesday. Tickets are $5. Show up.
Yeah, tickets are literally $5. Like, I appreciate that from them, not charging full price for a cup game. Yeah, I'm tired. You guys are probably tired. Let's get some sleep. Happy Easter to everyone that celebrates, or those who don't. Enjoy the food, or enjoy the festivities. Have fun. Be safe. And as always, from us on River City 93, we'll catch you later.